This is a sports catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather Ho there. It's Jeff Cutter. I welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy today, January 2nd, is a South African rugby icon. Now you'll be thinking, hang on. For one thing, why are you doing a guy that's not known to the majority of the world? And two, why are you doing something on rugby? Well, this guy is a leader. And in essence, I'm going to be talking about a famous Rugby World Cup victory that this guy has led South Africa to. His name is Francois Pienaar. He is 56 years old today. He was a flanker for the Springboks for 4 years. He was captain of the South African team that won the 95 Rugby World Cup. So anyway, he was born in Vereeniging, South Africa, to an Afrikaner family and the oldest 4 boys. He went to Rand Afrikaans University to study law. Then in 1989, he decided to play provincially for South Africa, like Transvaal province. And then South Africa, the national squad liked them, so they decided, hey, you know what, let's do it. Put him in 93. And strangely, his first match as a Springbok, he was captain. And, he helped them out. Pienaar was the winner of the Super Cup, Super 10, the Currie Cup, and the Lion Cup, helping Transvaal do all that. And he was named actually International Player of the Year by Rugby Magazine in 1994. Anyway, so he was very good for the team. And then, you got 1995, the World Cup. And hopefully South Africa wouldn't embarrass themselves after winning the rights to host it. Despite the fact South Africa still had the feelings of apartheid and all that. So anyway, the Springboks proceeded 9th prior to the World Cup, so 9th out of 16 teams. So yeah, they weren't expected to do well and all that. It was just amazing what they could do and all that. South Africa was in a pool with Australia, Canada, and Romania. Australia, of course, being one of the best teams around and rarely losing a match. South Africa's first game was against Australia. Ironic enough, winning the game 27-18. Stransky was the hero of the day. Joel Stransky put up every point minus a try. So, based on him and Pienaar's captaincy, South Africa shocked the Aussies 27-18. South Africa then beat Romania 21-8. Next to a pair of tries from Richter, and Canada couldn't score one freaking point off of South Africa, losing the score 20-0. Stransky being kind of a hero. So with that, South Africa won Pool A, which meant they would face Western Samoa. Well, as they were known as. They're now known as Samoa, but now they were known as Western Samoa for a while. South Africa in the second quarterfinal in the 95 World Cup crushed Western Samoa 42-14, despite a couple of tries from the Samoans. Williams had 4 tries for South Africa. Pienaar didn't really score points. He was just there to play defense and offense. South Africa out. South Africa would get to the semifinals against France, hold them without a try. France had to have 5 penalty kicks for 3 points from Lacroix. South Africa had a try, a convert, and penalty shots for Stransky. To explain, if I remember correctly, when you score a try or you get in the end zone in rugby, you get 5 points, and then you kick for 2 points, kind of like what you do in the NFL, but you kick the ball through the post for 2 points. However, unlike the NFL, where you are in the end zone, when you give yourself up, and then you drop the ball, and all that, where you're tackled or where you drop the ball, that's where That's exactly what. That's kind of where you have to kick the ball from. So if you score in the corner of the end zone, as you will in rugby, then you have to kick from the left. So then you have to kick. You don't kick straight down the middle. You have to kick from an area to the left, and then you got to curve your kick. And penalties usually are given for bad plays. You can take a penalty kick, which is 3 points if you make it through. It's like a field goal. So anyway, South Africa would have to worry about New Zealand, the All Blacks, because Jordan Longmu put up not 1, not 2, but 4 tries on England in that semifinal. The good news for France was that they actually won 3rd place. It didn't really matter much. So yeah, New Zealand and South Africa were huge and all that. The Springboks were just huge and all that. I mean, winning the title in front of their hometown crowds, their home country. So anyway, New Zealand looked pretty good and all that. And South Africa had their tight defense and it worked. No team scored a try in that one, or a 5-point play. South Africa got five field goals from Stransky, 3 on penalties, and 2 with a drop kick. Sometimes you could drop the ball for 3 points. A drop kick. So what you do is you have to bounce the ball in front of you and then kick it. And it goes through the goalpost at 3 points. New Zealand did a drop kick to tie the game at 9. And South Africa nearly botched it because they almost conceded a late drop goal, which would have ended the game. Went to extra time, both teams with penalty goals, and then Joel Stransky had drop goal to win for South Africa. South Africa won the game 15-12, and we can't forget that whole story with Nelson Mandela, the new president of South Africa, wearing a Springbok jersey, bearing Pinner's number 6, presented him with the Webb Ellis Cup for the Rugby World Cup. Pinner said that he didn't just win it for the fans at Ellis Park, 60,000 of them. He was there for 43 million South Africans. And Pinner is actually portrayed by Matt Damon in Invictus. That's the movie about the 1995 World Cup. Unfortunately, Pinner got into a little bit of trouble with the national side. With the rugby union. He led South African players in threatening to join their Australian and New Zealand counterparts to play professionally for the World Rugby Corporation. So anyway, Williams, there was a lot of problems. And the RRB did vote for professionalism. So anyway, rugby was a full-fledged professional game and all that. Unfortunately, a lot of people thought he was a traitor for selling out South African rugby to professionalism. But after 29 attempts with South Africa, he got booted from the team. And then he left for England to play for Watford-based club Saracens. They won the Pilkington Cup and took 2nd in the Premiership. They would get to the European Cup, but not doing so well. So yeah, for 29 times, it was the flank for them. Basically, the flank. He's one of 2 guys in this scrum, all that. So, Peter retired in 2000 and went back to Cape Town, where he lives with his wife and 2 sons who had Nelson Mandela as a godfather. Pinner became a pundit for ITV Sport during the Rugby World Cups in 07, 11, and 15. And all that. So it worked out. So yeah, one of the great South African players of all time. And he kept that in the face of the party and South Africa finally back into role. He kept that in